Hey, you want to see my favorite scene from Thor Ragnarok? Okay, here it is.
It's too strong. Without my hammer, I can't.
Are you Thor, the god of hammers? That hammer was to help you control your power, to focus it. It's never your source of strength.
I'm not as strong as you.
No. You're stronger.
Oh, that last bit gets me every time. Anyways, that was a really good scene. But more importantly, it encapsulates what is perhaps the most important theme of this movie: identity. Both Thor and the audience are convinced from the beginning of the film, as well as from the previous installments, that Thor's power is in some way reliant on his hammer. Right at the start of the film, however, Thor's hammer is shattered by Hela, who is literally the physical manifestation of Asgard's dark past, but we'll get into Asgard's identity later. So, Hela destroying Thor's hammer is symbolic of Thor's past, or the past he's associated with, stripping him of his power. This suggests that our past struggles or mistakes can dampen our power, can weaken us, drain us. However, this idea is then flipped on its head by the end of the movie, as we just saw with the Revelation scene. There he learns that his hammer is not the source of his true power, he is more than that. So, although Hela, the manifestation of Asgard's dark past, at first seems to weaken Thor, by the end of the film we see that it's the opposite. It is revealed that what seemed to be a loss of power was a necessary step in Thor coming to the realization that he is not bound to his hammer. His true strength comes from within. This is all pretty messy and complicated, but essentially what the whole conflict between Hela and Thor is saying is this: our past mistakes, whether or not we made them or are simply associated with them, can seemingly strip us of our strength, drain us of our power, and sully our identity. But as the Revelation scene reveals, those things are only true if we allow them to be. Instead, our past doesn't have to define our future, and more importantly, our present. In realizing this, as Thor did, we see that although our past struggles and mistakes may seem to weaken us, in reality they allow us to reach higher. Aragorn, in The Lord of the Rings, had a similar problem. His ancestors, or the race of men for that matter, had always proven themselves susceptible to the power of the One Ring, and this weakness that Aragorn, by birth, inherits, haunts him. But in this scene right here, which is also a good scene by the way, we see Aragorn detached from this identity defined by his ancestors, his people's past, and he finds strength within himself to defy Sauron's power, motivated by the desire to define his own identity. And of course, motivated by his love for Frodo and Sam, which is really the more important part of that motivation. Similar to Thor's hammer, this movie once again misleads us. We are made to believe that saving Asgard means saving the actual physical landscape, and therefore Ragnarok must be stopped. However, during the realization scene, Thor not only learns about his true potential, but also the truth behind what Asgard really means, and what must be done to save it.
Asgard is not a place. Never was. This could be Asgard. Asgard is where our people stand.
Once again, the theme that one's identity is not dependent on one's surroundings or past arises. This becomes even more evident when considering Imperial Asgard, or Asgard's not-so-altruistic past. Hela mentions how imperialism allowed Odin to create halls of gold.
Odin and I drowned entire civilizations in blood and tears. Where do you think all this gold came from?
But if Asgard is not a place, rather a people, then this wealth means nothing. Which is why it is crucial for Thor to recognize that the Asgard they're trying to save is not the place itself, as it represents the very failures of Odin and his empire, now manifested in Hela. The dichotomy between Thor and Hela's perception of Asgard as a city exemplifies the identity theme that we've already established through Thor's hammer. Hela and Thor essentially have the same legacy. Both are connected, albeit in different amounts, to Asgard's tyrannical form of rule. Hela is consumed by this past, so much so that she is the very embodiment of it. In Asgard, she sees only the materialistic, the halls of gold built from the riches of imperialism. Thor, after his revelation scene, realizes that Asgard the city is nothing more than a relic of a failed tyrannical rule that he wanted no part of in the first place. In this sense, Imperial Asgard is rather like Hela destroying Thor's hammer. Thor's decision to rise above his legacy, to see the good in Asgard, its people, rather than be consumed by its past like Hela, suggests that, once again, our upbringing or family legacy does not have to dictate our own legacies that we create for ourselves and those who come after us. The choice is ours. There is also this idea in the movie that Hela's power stems from Asgard, and since Odin introduces that idea, we can infer that by Asgard, he means its people, as that seems to be his train of thought.
She draws her strength from Asgard, and once she gets there, her powers will be limitless.
If this is true, Hela, who represents past failures and mistakes, draws strength only from her proximity to the people of Asgard, who can be seen to represent the future and new possibilities. As we see in the end of the movie, they are the future of Asgard. They are to remake it. This idea suggests that our past only has power over our potential if we associate the two. In that way, it is more than fitting that by the end, Thor and his companions, as well as Asgard's people, leave Hela and the city behind in an exodus for the stars, and allow it to be destroyed, no longer a part of them. They have risen above it. Also, we get this.
The damage is not too bad. As long as the foundations are still strong, we can rebuild this place. It will become a haven for all peoples and aliens of the universe. Nah, those foundations are gone. Sorry.
Hey, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you were able to follow any of that, because I wrote that script and not even I knew what was going on. So if you understood any of that, that's impressive. Good job, congratulations. As you can probably tell by what I assume is a humble number of views, this is my first video on the channel. Basically, we're going to be having a jolly old time doing things like this, going over movies, going over their themes, their meanings, what we can learn from them, and hopefully stuff that's a lot more fun as well. So stay tuned for that, and thanks for watching. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.